Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tommy here. Good morning. So lately, I've been having an issue trying to get time to make these videos, so I decided to multitask. So we're going to make breakfast and have breakfast together while I do this. So I wanted to talk about self-care, um, and particularly how it relates to trans folks in this particular time and age if you are living in a red state, right? Or you're living in one of those states where, you know, people just feel they're hating us and making up shit, you know? Or even if whatever they're saying is true, which I don't think any of it is true, you know, you're going to treat an entire slew of people based off fallacies, right? But that's neither here nor there. So, self care, what does that look like now? And I'm going to use myself as an example. So, I'm going to preface this with this. I am not a psychology expert. I'm not a mental health expert. I'm just speaking from my own experience of how I'm trying to take care of my mental health. One, um, seeking therapy. Mhm. Therapy is very important, and if you have access to therapy, I would suggest you take advantage of it. And sometimes you can find certain places that have like a reduced rate. Therapists are willing to work with you. Therapy is expensive, or if you can't afford therapy or you want to add to your therapy, you can also try support groups. I particularly facilitate a support group every third Friday of the month, and I make sure that within my support group, we not only talk about the negative, but we also try to implement some seeds of hope. Taking care of yourself also looks like things beyond the self. In other words, like make sure that you are saving money or trying to save money. Um, as trans folks, some of us are very talented, and we may have a talent that can afford us some extra ends. If you have people that you can live with, especially if you live in an expensive place like Florida, and you can save money that way, I would suggest to do so. And then that money, what you want two things for that money. You want if you are planning to transition and you know you can't get gender affirming care in your state, you can go somewhere else and get it. And you need money for that. And you also need money just in case you have to flee. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think um, other parts of self care would also be maybe learning self defense. So if the probability of you getting attacked for whatever reason, you have some way of defending yourself. You know, God forbid. Hopefully, never gets to that. But I just heard of two kids uh, getting unalived for being trans. So we're just dealing with the reality of it, right? Limit your social media, right? Be aware, but don't doom scroll. Don't sit there and just like continue to take in all these messages from people. Um, Stay away from the comment section. Especially if it's a non-queer social media site. If it's queer, go to the comment section. You might find some healthy conversation. But if it's not, people tend to say things that are not true. And then two, normally like the comment section isn't always an intelligent conversation. Let's just put it that way. Um, if you don't have a supportive family, learn to choose a chosen family. Get people around you that can support you and love you just the way you are. You know, exactly how you are right now in this particular form. And then see yourself with those people for long term. Now, if you cannot, that means they're not going to be with you on that journey. And you may not want to invest so much time and energy into that relationship. Speaking of time and energy and investments, invest time and energy in learning new skills and in bettering yourself. Um, those are all helpful for survival, just in case you gotta go, or you need a job or something. Transitioning is a step by step process for even for anyone. So I would always suggest to um, take your time. Uh, there's parts of transitioning that people don't always talk about, uh, and it's more than just physical. There are psychological and spiritual things that happen in your transition. You reach a level of maturity in your transition that most cisgender people will either A, never reach, or take twice as long to reach it. There's a state of nirvana that happens, I believe, when you transition, which is sometimes why I feel people don't really get it, right? Like, that's a whole other topic. Let's stay on the topic of self care. I want you to understand that this too shall pass, right? The sun always comes out. The pendulum always swings back to the left or back to the right. Right now, the pendulum is swinging to the right in a hard way. I do want you to remember that a certain president lost the election, that he only got 40% of the vote, and they're mad. And this is just a lot of angry people who are scared of diversity, scared of inclusion, scared. And because they're scared, they're doing very angry and mean things. So do not take in the negative messages that you're hearing. They're coming from a place of fear. I know that being trans isn't always easy. In fact, it's not easy at all. There's a lot of things that happen within the trans community that we don't really talk about, right? We just kind of script and bear it. But it is not impossible to live a life in which you are loved and you have love and you have a roof over your head and you have more than basic necessities. It is possible to thrive even in the midst of adversity. So I leave you with that. Please take care of yourselves. Bye bye.